and it is going on into the future. After the New Madrid earthquake in 1812, several large fissures were reported all over the United States. One such fault line opened up the side of a mountain in Lompoc, California, half a continent away from the Mississippi. The fault line is still expanding. I first saw the fault line 30 years ago. When I returned recently, the entire area was covered with houses. The houses sitting astride the fault line are all experiencing structural problems, and some are now condemned. The developers did not know the history of the area. In fact, they did not know that the fault had destroyed the monastery in its path in 1811. They did not see 30 years ago what I saw. At that time, the ruins of the old monastery were still to be seen there. It could also be clearly seen where the rift ran right through the old monastery and destroyed it. When I returned 30 years later, they had cleared away the ruins of the monastery and built homes. They had placed a historical plaque to tell what had happened to the monastery back in 1812. So the developers did not know a lot of things. They did not know that the rift down the hillside occurred in the earthquake in 1812. They also did not know that it was an earthquake fault. They certainly did not know that the fissure was expanding. They knew nothing about seismic creep, which is not surprising. Very few people do. An earthquake is a release of surface tension. Because the earth is expanding, the surface is constantly in tension, and it fractures and quakes as tension is released. That force is what generates the earthquake. That is why they are so unpredictable. The expansion is taking place globally. We may have earthquakes in North America today, but at the same time there are earthquakes in Japan and the Mid-Atlantic and Tuvalu in the South Pacific. I mentioned that state of Tuvalu, for those islands are supposed to be swamped by rising seas. The fact is that Tuvalu sits on the cusp of two active plates in the Pacific. The seafloor maps show quite clearly where the island chain is located. The islands are actually sinking into the ocean as geological conditions on the Pacific seafloor dictate. Tuvalu has been featured worldwide as a prima facie case in the global warming debate. Tuvalu is used as an example to show the world that sea levels are rising. The truth is that several islands in the Pacific are sinking. The Carteret Islands and the Duke of York Islands are all being swamped like Tuvalu. These unfortunate islands are seldom mentioned in connection with global warming. They all sit on shifting plates on the Pacific Ocean floor. The tsunami that struck in Southeast Asia on Boxing Day 2004 was caused by an earthquake that took place off the island of Sumatra. The earthquake caused a slump in the ocean floor which triggered the tsunami. The most important development resulting from that tragic event has been overlooked by scientists. It has been reported that the sea has receded from its former shoreline. That is to say, that after the tsunami, the sea has settled down again, but it has not returned to its former level on the beach. Some years ago, after a major earthquake in Nicaragua, it was reported that the sea level offshore had dropped 20 feet. After the great earthquake in Lisbon on November 1st, 1775, it was reported that the land rose, leaving boats exposed on the seafloor. Early Sunday morning on September 18, 1994, two large earthquakes rocked Rabaul, increasing in intensity throughout the day. By late evening, parts of the shoreline began to rise. The coral reef off Rabaul surfaced and people feasted on trapped fish and other marine life. Darwin would have called that condition a raised beach. In all these cases, it was reported that the land raised. The illusion here is not that the land rose, What really occurred was that the sea level receded. Darwin studied raised beaches all around the Pacific and on the South American mainland. It had never occurred to him that the opposite could be true. The sea was receding. This is part 9 in the series, The Mysterious Receding Seas. Receding seas affects all of our lives. I am Richard Guy.